Here is another video about SMMware, software for running your day-to-day business operations. This video will discuss SMMware's integration with Zapier, allowing SMMware to connect with even more third-party software platforms than previously. For a general overview of SMMware, please see our introductory video at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SMMware, or just search your YouTube app for SMMware. Okay, let's begin. Zapier is one of a number of services that acts as middleware and as a universal translator. So in this case, SMMware will be telling Zapier that something has happened, and Zapier will pass that along to some other service, or vice versa. And this allows for a lot of flexibility, because instead of SMMware having to learn how to speak with every other software service, then SMMware only has to learn how to speak with Zapier, and Zapier knows how to speak to the other various software services like Constant Contact or Outlook Calendar. And you can think of this in terms of human languages, and whether it's English, French, or German, SMMware only has to know how to speak one language, and Zapier is our middleman. There's a little bit of vocabulary to learn. A trigger is when SMMware tells Zapier that something has happened, for instance, a new client. An action is when Zapier tells SMMware that something has happened somewhere else. And in order to make anything useful happen, you have to combine at least one trigger and then one or more actions. Zapier calls this combination a zap. The triggers and actions are defined by SMMware and other software vendors, and then you log into your Zapier account. You combine them as you need. Here are some examples. You can arrange for SMMware to tell Zapier when a new client is added, and then Zapier could, for instance, copy that information to Constant Contact. Or a new event in SMMware can be copied to something like Microsoft Outlook Calendar. In the near future, we'll be looking into integrating with e-signing, like DocuSign, and copying hours to a payroll service. First thing we have to do is tell SMMware that we want to integrate with Zapier. Go to Admin and Settings. We'll edit Section 1, Basic Settings. And going down to the bottom, we'll make sure that the question, should SMMware integrate with Zapier, is set to yes. The next thing we have to do is tell SMMware which associates can manage Zapier. Once Zapier is set up, then any user who makes an entry will trigger the integration. So it's really just about the ability to manage settings in Zapier. So we're looking at the system administrator's account, and at the very bottom here, this drop-down says Zapier admin, and we want to make sure that it says yes for any associates you want to be able to administer Zapier. At this point in time, the only setting that we have to manage in Zapier is the API key. There may be others in the future, but this is the one for now. When you first set up this integration, this will be blank. You'll click on Get New, and then Yes, and it'll give you an API key. Then you click on Copy to Keyboard. And for now, we're just going to let that sit in our clipboard. From here, we go to Zapier. You'll sign up for an account, and once you have done so, you'll log in. And you'll be given this left-hand navigation. You'll click on Zaps. You can create folders to store your Zaps in, and we're going to create some in Demo, which is a folder that we defined. Now we're going to click on Create Zap. In this case, we're going to use one of the triggers in SMMware for new clients. If you do wind up working with a trigger or action that is not yet published, you may need to have an invite, but probably you won't need that. In this list, you may have to search for SMMware. Once you've seen it, then you can go ahead and click on it. The next step is to indicate which of the triggers you want to use. We're going to pick New Client, Each one of these has a description, like this one says triggers when a new client is created. Next, when it says choose account, that means how you're connecting Zapier to SMMware, and this will be the API key. You will click on connect new account, and here's where we will paste in the API key that we previously put in your clipboard. For the second field, if you were on a SMMware site called demo.smware.com, which is what we're using here, then you would type in demo, and of course yours will be different. Then you'd click on yes, continue. Since I've already created a connection between Zapier and SMMware, it'll appear in this list and I can just click on it. And after you've created your first connection, then you won't have to log in again. You'll just have that connection in the list to pick from. Now click on Setup Trigger. In this case, the level of data to send, I'm just going to go ahead and click on Full. We also ask that you enter a trigger label. And the instructions below indicate that you should have a single word with no spaces, 32 characters max. Also, you can base your label on the action associated with the Zap for convenience. So in this case, we're using constant contact. Next, we're going to test the trigger. Zapier is contacting SMMware and asking for some sample data, which SMMware then sends back. I'll click on Continue. So now you can see up here we are finished with the trigger, and we've opened up the action. You may have to search for constant contact or other software that you're trying to connect to. In this case, it appears on the list, so I'll go ahead and just select constant contact. Next, you have to tell Zapier which event you're trying to create, and we're going to create a contact. We also have to connect it to constant contact. I have already done that, so it appears in this list. Otherwise, we would click on Connect a New Account and just follow the instructions. It's mainly going to be entering your username and password. Here I can just select it. Now, in the section called Setup Action, we're going to tell them what we want to do, create a contact. And then we have to match up the fields that are provided by SMMware to the ones that are being asked for by Constant Contact. When I've made a selection, I can click on the X in the upper right, or I can just click somewhere else to make this pop-up close. I'm indicating which list. I have a list under the Constant Contact account called General Interest, and we'll pick that. Now I'll select the first name in SMMware to be connected to the first name in Constant Contact, and the same for the last name. You can see that there are other fields here that we could pass through, but I think we're good for now. So I'm going to say Continue, and we will test our action. That looks like it went well, so now we're going to click on Publish. And once you have done that, then when a new client is added in SMMware, it will in fact be passed to Zapier and from there into Constant Contact. So now we're going to go back to SMMware. We can add a new client. I'll go ahead and save it. And you can see that it tells us that a new client was sent to Zapier. Here in Constant Contact, it can take some time for the information to be passed along. We're just going to come here and check to see if we now have our new entry. And we can see our test value that came through. We do not yet see the one that we just added, but it should show up shortly. Going back to Zapier, I almost forgot. So you might want to put a title on your Zap. That way, once you have more than a few of them, you'll be able to tell them apart more easily. Coming back here to the list, and you can see where there's now an entry. And as we add more Zaps, they would just build up down below. You can see here that there is a button for turning your Zaps on and off. Setting up other Zaps works in a similar fashion, whether you are connecting events to calendars or et cetera, et cetera. You can also have Zaps where you can bring clients into SMMware and also associates, vendors, and contacts. So Zapier is really a toolbox, and we can't demonstrate every possible combination, but it's very flexible and should be able to satisfy your needs to connect to other softwares. So that concludes our introduction to Zapier and our integration with it. To find out more, you can visit our website at www.smware.com. You can call us at 240-285-4619 with questions or to arrange a demo. SMMware is an industry partner with NASM, the National Association of Senior Move Managers, and with NAPO, the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. We appreciate your time and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.